Hi guys, we're here to show you how to set up a Ground Control Pro with the 11 rack hardware unit. So we're going to take you through how to use the pedal, we're going to take you through how to set up continuous controller pedals, and also we're going to give you a preview of a new firmware revision that allows the Ground Control Pro to directly control the 11 rack without any need for setup. Already preset for you. So obviously we have to set up the 11 rack to listen to the commands from the Ground Control Pro. So to do that, in terms of letting the 11 rack listen, you have to go to the Preferences page. So you see under the User Options section there is a MIDI page. If I just drill in there for a second, you can see you have a couple different options. So this knob right here determines what MIDI channel the 11 rack will listen to when a command is sent to it. So you can see that you can set it to any one of the traditional 16 MIDI channels, as well as an Omni setting, which is where I have it right now, which means that it will be sending commands on, it'll listen to any command sent on any one of those 16 MIDI channels. As long as it's plugged into the MIDI input jack, it'll listen to it. So that's as far as we have to go on the 11 rack to set it up to listen. Now the Ground Control Pro basically can send both patch changes and MIDI continuous controller changes to the 11 rack, and it will respond to it, as you'd expect to. So what we'll do now is go down to the floor and show you what the pedal looks like and how to do it. Okay, so now we're looking at the Ground Control Pro, and what you're basically seeing is a bunch of pedals and a bunch of buttons, and obviously they all do different things, and there are different ways to run the box, if that makes sense. So in default mode, it runs as 10 different instant access buttons for patches, a increment, decrement for moving patches at one time, and the bank buttons where you can go up to another bank. So basically if I hit number 9 here, that's calling up preset number 9, preset number 5, preset number 6 on the box, if that makes sense. However, that's not how we're going to be running it today, because that's not how I do it. So we're going to change that behavior. And in order to get into setup mode on a Ground Control Pro, all you have to do is hit the twin setup buttons. And now we're in setup mode. So if I hit the utility button, you'll see that now if I hit the bank button down to change some things here, I can now change it from 10 presets and bank switches to 4 preset and bank switches. Why is that cool? Well, it's cool because now I have 8 continuous controller messages and 4 patch changes on the box at the same time, which is cool. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a control change message is, or a CC message, it's basically a message sent from a controller in MIDI to control one parameter at once. These guys here are still going to be patch changes. Their job is to change the entire patch, the entire rig setting in 11 rack at the same time. So now we're ready to go ahead and turn these guys on and assign them to do certain tasks for us on the 11 rack, things like turning on the wah or turning on the distortion. And to do that, we're going to have to know what numbers to program, and to do that, we're going to have to look at the manual for a second. Sorry, kids. Okay, so in the manual, you'll see on screen that I need to choose the MIDI control numbers for the different effects that I've got loaded in my preset. Well, so in this rig setup, I have an AC30 amplifier, and I have a black op distortion, and I have the tape delay. So I need to go and find out what numbers those effects modules are going to respond to if I send a command to the 11 rack. So here you can see on screen we've got the manual up, and we're looking at the MIDI continuous controller table. On that table here you can see I've got the black op distortion, and you can see the bypass state for that is actually number 25. And if we go ahead and scroll over a little bit farther down here and find the bypass setting for the tape delay, that is 28. So basically what I need to do is set up the Ground Control Pro to send one button that sends controller number 25 and one button that sends controller number 28. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go into setup mode again. And you can see it takes 2 hands, so you can't do that accidentally, which is awesome. Alright, so in order to set up those instant access buttons, I need to hit the instant access button, which is number 6. Hit that guy, and now if I use the bank buttons, I can choose which one of the buttons I want to set up. So what this is telling you right now is that the number 1 denotes the button you're trying to set up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? The blinking number is trying to tell you what MIDI channel it's going to transmit that command on, so the Ground Control Pro can send out commands on multiple channels at once. And the value on the right, the CTL, is the continuous controller number. So right now it is set to 25. if I wanted to change that number, I could just bank over to make it blink, and then change it, right? Which is cool. So it needed to be 25. Now if I want to go up and make, let's say my third pedal, I'm going to make this my delay pedal for some reason, all right? So if I hit the bank, there we go, and now you'll see that I'm now ready to set up the third button, still sending a command on channel 1, and now that is set to controller 28. So if we look at, I'm going to exit this for a second. Exit, yes, damn it. And now if we look at the 11 rack, if I hit number 1, it's going to turn on the distortion module. If I hit number 3, it's going to turn on and off the tape echo. So now basically you can set up all of these buttons to do your bidding. It is a global setting, and you can set up the pedals, which we'll talk about here in a minute, to be different per patch.